Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English for Beginners, the podcast. I'm Jasmine, and I'm here with my co-host, Mark. Today, we are going to talk about the places where we live. We are going to look at common vocabulary for the house, the stairs, the rooms, and the floors.
That's right, Jasmine. We want to help you describe your home and the things you do in it every day. Let's start with the word house. There are many verbs we use with house. For example, if you are a construction worker, you might build a house.
And if you don't live alone, you might share a house with friends or family. But Mark, what happens if a house is very old and dangerous? Sometimes the city has to demolish a house.
Exactly. They knock it down. But if the house is just a little bit old and you want to make it look beautiful again, you renovate a house. You fix the walls, paint the doors, and make it new.
I love a good renovation project. However, we have to be careful about safety. We hope no one ever tries to break into a house to steal things. That is why we always lock our doors.
Good point. And if you find a better place to live, you pack your bags and you move house. That means you go from your old home to a brand new one.
Now, let's look at some common expressions. Most people live in a house. If you visit a friend for a few days, you might stay at someone's house.
And if you are walking down the street, you might pass someone's house on your way to the shop. Just make sure you have your keys, Jasmine, so you don't lock yourself out of the house.
Oh, I've done that before, Mark. It's very frustrating. Now, let's move inside. If the house has 2 floors, you need to use the stairs. What verbs do we use there?
Well, most of the time you just use the stairs or take the stairs instead of using an elevator. If you are walking slowly, you climb the stairs.
But if you are in a hurry, you might run up the stairs or run down the stairs. You have to be careful, though. If you are not looking, you might fall down the stairs.
That sounds painful. We also use stairs to move objects. You might carry something up the stairs or carry something down the stairs, like a heavy box.
When we talk about the structure, we call a set of steps a flight of stairs. And when you reach the end, you are at the top of the stairs or the bottom of the stairs.
Now let's go into a specific room. Like a house, you can share a room with a brother or sister. And Jasmine, your mother always tells you to tidy your room, doesn't she?
She does. It's important to keep it clean. In a big building, a landlord might let out rooms, which means they rent them to people for money.
We use many adjectives for rooms. A room can be a tidy room or an untidy room. If you go to a hotel, you can book a single room, a twin room with 2 beds, or a double room for a couple.
We also have the spare room for guests, and we can talk about the next room if we mean the one right beside us. If there are too many people inside, we say the room is crowded.
And if you can't get inside, maybe the room is locked. Some rooms have specific purposes, like a waiting room at a train station or a hospital.
I prefer a bright room with lots of sunlight. It makes it a comfortable room to sit in. Finally, Mark, let's talk about the floor.
The floor needs a lot of cleaning. To keep it shiny, you can mop the floor with water, sweep the floor with a broom, or scrub the floor on your hands and knees if it is very dirty.
If you want it to be soft, you can cover the floor with carpets. But be careful when you are relaxing. You might lie on the floor to watch TV, or if you have a lot of guests, someone might have to sleep on the floor.
Just don't walk too fast if the floor is cleaning. You might slip on the wet floor. I usually pile books on the floor next to my bed because I have no more space on my shelf.
Just try not to spill coffee on the floor, Mark. It's very hard to clean out of a carpet.
That is a great tip, Jasmine. Let's go back to the house section and dive deeper. When we say we build a house, we're talking about the foundation, the walls, and the roof. It takes a long time to build a house, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Mark. It can take months or even years, and once it is built, people move in. As we mentioned, many students share a house. This helps them save money because they split the rent.
Sharing is caring. But sometimes an old building is no longer safe. That is when the machines come to demolish a house. It is a very loud process.
On the other hand, if you love an old building, you might choose to renovate a house. This means you are making it better. You might put in a new kitchen or a new bathroom.
I think renovating is a great way to make a home feel personal. But we must mention the negative side of house vocabulary. To break into a house is a crime. We use this phrase when someone enters a home without permission.
That's why we have locks and alarms. Now, what about when you decide it's time for a change? You move house. In British English, we say move house, while in American English, people often just say move.
That's a good distinction. Let's talk about the expressions again. To live in a house is our daily reality. I live in a small house in the suburbs. Where do you live, Jasmine?
I live in a house near the park. Sometimes my friends come over and stay at my house for the weekend. We have a lot of fun.
I often pass your house when I go for my morning run. I see your garden from the street.
Just don't see me when I lock myself out of the house. I once had to wait 3 hours for a locksmith because I forgot my keys inside. It was very cold.
That sounds like a nightmare. Let's go back inside and talk about the stairs. You said earlier that we take the stairs. Why do people do that?
Well, it's good exercise. Instead of the elevator, you use the stairs. If the building is very tall, you have to climb the stairs for a long time.
And if you are late for work, you might run up the stairs. But you must be careful not to fall down the stairs. Safety first.
When I moved into my home, I had to carry something up the stairs. It was a very heavy chair. My arms were so tired.
I bet. And when we talk about the stairs as a unit, we call it a flight of stairs. For example, my apartment is up 2 flights of stairs.
And you might leave your shoes at the bottom of the stairs or keep a mirror at the top of the stairs.
Let's talk more about the room. You mentioned that children often share a room. It can be difficult if one person is messy and the other wants to tidy the room.
Exactly. I used to hate it when my brother didn't tidy his side. In some cities, people who have extra space will let out rooms to travelers or students.
That is a common way to earn extra money. Now, let's describe these rooms. If I clean everything, I have a tidy room. If I leave my clothes everywhere, I have an untidy room.
When you go to a hotel, the receptionist might ask, would you like a single room for one person or a double room for 2?
Or if you are traveling with a friend but want separate beds, you ask for a twin room. And if you have a guest coming over to your house, they can sleep in the spare room.
I can hear my neighbor talking in the next room because the walls are very thin.
That's not good. If you go to a party and there are 100 people in a small space, you would say the room is crowded. It's hard to move around.
And if you are looking for someone, you might find that the room is locked. You need a key to get in.
We also have waiting rooms. You find a waiting room at the doctor's office or at the station while you wait for your train.
I like rooms with big windows because they are bright rooms. A comfortable room is one where you can really relax.
Finally, let's go back to the floor. Cleaning the floor is a big job. To mop the floor, you need a bucket and water. To sweep the floor, you just need a broom.
And if there is a stain, you have to scrub the floor very hard. If the floor is cold, you can cover the floor with a nice warm carpet.
I like to lie on the floor when I stretch after exercise, but I would never want to sleep on the floor every night. It's too hard.
Just watch out for spills. If you slip on the wet floor, you could get hurt. And Mark, you really should stop putting your piles of books on the floor.
I know, and I promise not to spill coffee on the floor ever again.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of English for Beginners, the podcast. We covered a lot of vocabulary about the house today.
We certainly did. From building a house to mopping the floor, these are words you can use every day.
Would you like me to create a short quiz to help you remember these house and room verbs?